I could ask you, please, to remain standing. In your programs, the national anthem is clearly written. If you could open your programs, please, to the national anthem. The second stanza of the national anthem will serve as our opening prayer, and I'd like you all to read it with me. O God of creation, direct our noble cause. Guide our leaders right. Help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true, great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, the Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo. Your Excellency, Senate President, if he's here, Distinguished Senator David Mark, the Chairman of the Senate Committee on Power, Senator Philip Aduda, and other distinguished senators here present, the Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Power, Honorable Patrick Ihariale, and other members of the National Assembly here present. Our host minister, the Honorable Minister of Power, Professor Chinedu Nebo, the Honorable Minister of Trade and Investment, Dr. Olusegun Aganga, the Honorable Minister of Petroleum Resources, Mrs. Diezani Alison Madweke, the Minister of State Finance, Dr. Lawal Yerima Ngama, other Honorable Ministers here present. Dr. Ngama also happens to be the Chairman of the committee which put this program together. Former Ministers of Power here present, Professor Bart Nnaji and Mr. Nuhu Wea. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Power, Dr. Godknows Igali. The Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprises, Mr. Benjamin Dickey. Heads of other government agencies and parastatals here present, especially those of the Ministry of Power. We have heads of the TCN here, the Chairman of the Board of TCN. We have the heads of the NNPC here and other government agencies, like I said. Members of the diplomatic corps are their investors and prospective investors in the power sector. Captains of industry, I have cited Haji Abola Shagaya here. I've seen Chief Oba Otudeko with us. Members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We will do more recognition as we go along, as we get more names. No doubt, power is a very sensitive topic in Nigeria. In fact, electricity is most important for sustainable development, and inadequate electricity supply over the years in Nigeria has been an impediment. The Nigerian power sector had operated as a monopoly before the unbundling of the PHCN in 2005. And since coming on board, the administration of Dr. Goodluck Jonathan has made the power sector reform the pivot of its transformation agenda. However, because this is a sector requiring huge amounts of money, we're talking of billions of dollars here, the government cannot do it alone. Hence, the need to bring investors. And following the conclusion of the privatization of PHCN last November, opportunities now abound for investors in Nigeria's power sector. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, that's why we're all here today, to deliberate on how to transform Nigeria's power sector to a commercially run, viable, and liberalized market, with one goal: achieving a win-win situation where Nigerians have electricity to run their businesses and live decent lives, where investors get favorable returns on their investment, and where the Jonathan administration leaves a legacy. Welcome to the Nigeria Power Sector Investors Conference. My name is Seun Olagunju, and I'm here today with my colleague, Mark Edo. Mark?
Thank you very much, Seun. Thank you. In addition, I'd like to recognize the various new heads of the GENCOs and the DISCOs that are here. There's about 1,000 people here today. There's also a high-powered 60-man delegation from the U.S. led by Assistant Secretary for Energy Transformation, Dr. Robert Icord. There's a high-powered delegation from ADB led by the Vice President of ADB. And the head of corporate banking of Standard Bank has come all the way from New York, Mark Chiavello. The Vice President of the U.S. Corporate Council on Africa, a very important body in relations to U.S. and Africa, Dr. Robert Perry is here as well. And the Electrobras Executive, Pedro Jatoba. Now, as you said, this is...
Before you go on, Mark, I really need to apologize. I'm just seeing right in front of me the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator Ayim Pius. Ayim, thanks for joining us, sir.
And also, I also have to say, the Coordinating Minister of the Economy is here, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala. Now, as you said, it's a very important thing. 1,000 people gathered here today. For what? The real question is why? Well, the question is that economists are baffled by Nigeria. They think that they can't understand how we could have 7% growth with 3% of South Africa's energy per person, 7% of Brazil's. Just imagine what we could do with
If
10
we had power.
or 20,000 megahertz, and it's phenomenal, the concept. And also, before I begin, I keep using the word we when I talk about Nigeria. I have to just say before we begin, the reason I'm using we is because my name is Mark Edo, and I'm an Edo man, and I think the organizers
African
here,
or Igbo?
I'm an African, I think the organizers here probably chose me because we're going to be talking about light today, and I am the lightest Nigerian in the world, so there you go.
So, Excellencies, without much ado and without wasting our time, let's kickstart the program.
Yes, by welcome address, very important one. Dr. Yerima Lawan Ngama is the Minister of State for Finance. He's also been a champion for the process that's led to the resuscitation of the power sector. Please, a warm Nigerian and international welcome for Dr. Yerima Lawan Ngama, who will give us the welcome address, ladies and gentlemen.
Your Excellency, the Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo, the Coordinating Minister for the Economy and Federal Minister of Finance, the Minister of Power, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, members of the National Assembly, captains of industry, our invited guests from all over the world, the managing directors and chairmen of our power companies, both the GEMCOs and the DISCOs, ladies and gentlemen, I am very delighted this morning to welcome you all to the opening ceremony of the International Conference for Facilitating Finance of the Power Infrastructure in Nigeria. Today's event is yet another milestone in the history of the power sector reform program of the President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan administration. Ladies and gentlemen, the reforms in the power sector have gone a long way, and we have recorded marked improvement in power supply. President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was, from the inception of his administration, committed to bringing the intractable problem of power in this country to an end. The government embarked on a program of comprehensive reform and privatization of the power sector, as well as the expansion of the power infrastructure with the completion